Happy Halloween! A week late. I love how sometimes the calendar works. Hey, it's Ray Goots. I'm here on Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm here with Kyle Lewis. Pratik's jumping on in a minute. Um, it's so funny because I just started this in the first weekend of January 2023, and this is the second. I think this is the second time where the Halloween Havoc, we're reviewing it like right after Halloween. And so even though WCW is in a spooky mood, we are in November. So how did it feel going back to Halloween a week later? Oh,
Well, it was weird because in New York, Halloween was still going on. Like November 1st, people were having parties. November 2nd, I think people were having like tail end parties. Even Dynamite, I saw people in costume. Like there were a
that's
couple people in
real.
like masks and like dressed up, and not like wrestling cosplay either. So I guess the spirit of Halloween lasted for the week. So I just took that in with me to Halloween Havoc 1997.
Yes, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But while we wait for Pratik to jump on, I want to address some current events. AEW has introduced another new title, the national title. This is basically a ripoff of an old NWA belt. It's going to be, I don't know, there's going to be a gauntlet for the belt. Uh, dude, there's just too many fucking belts in AEW. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand why we just can't admit storylines in AEW were better, and there were barely any storylines to begin with, but they were better when there was the TNT title, the world title, the tag title, and the women's title. We don't need. I'll give you the TBS title. We can keep that. We don't need these other belts. We don't need like 15 fucking women's belts in Ring of Honor. There's just too many fucking belts. There's not enough shows. I just think this is fucking stupid. And if you're defending this, if you're a fan, you defend this dumb decision. You are literally standing in the way of your favorite company growing. So what do you think of this, Kyle? This new belt?
They had this belt already though, didn't they? Wasn't that the belt? Wasn't that the idea of the belt that they merged with Kenny Omega
Mm-hmm.
that Okada
Yes.
has?
And the whole point of that match was to consolidate, have less belts to make Okada's belt mean more. Okada's done nothing with that belt. No one's even taught like they just kind of like wasted Omega Okada. No one's even talking about it. That was like the hottest feud. That basically started AEW, that fucking feud. And I never hear anyone talk about that match that they just had it all in. And again, it's just yeah, it's like why would you why is you don't need this fucking belt, Tony.
No, I don't think they need the belt. I am for the women's tag belts 'cause they have so many women and they do so little. But but when you factor in Ring of Honor, I think Ring of Honor has like two women's titles.
Three.
Three,
Three.
yeah, they got another one coming. They have the Pure Championship. It's just a lot, and you don't see as many people as much. Like you kind of forget that Deanna Purrazzo is there, that Athena is there. Well, now she's on the show like regularly. Billy Starks. I was like, well, unless you watch everything, which is impossible when you are older. I don't know how people do it unless wrestling is the only thing you watch. Like I don't even watch all the WWE. I watch Raw, I watch SmackDown. NXT. Sometimes I'm not even paying attention or I just catch the highlights of like NXT or something like that. But like, it's just too much. It's just way too much.
Yeah, and it's just bro, the number like so I watched Saturday's main event. I was home this Saturday. So I watched Saturday's main event and it was okay. I mean, they needed Jesse
Apparently,
Ventura.
yeah, apparently he's done. They're not renewing him.
Great. Yeah, just the only big thing on the fucking show and they got yeah. Why? Let's just have Michael Cole talk like a drone for fucking for the next 20 more years. Michael Cole talking like a robot. Um, it was fine. I mean, listen, I'm glad CM Punk won the belt, but it's not enjoyable. And the other thing too is I upgraded my Peacock to have commercial free, which has been great with these pay-per-views, and it's great. I'm watching Old Mid South. But guess what? Fucking again, Saturday's main event has unskippable commercials. So I have to still sit there on November 1st and see Dunkin' Donuts Christmas commercials, even though I gave Peacock twice the amount of money.
It's
It's uh
ridiculous.
it's ridiculous. It's why can't you show me video packages? Why can't you show me Jesse Ventura like shaving his dog's ass? Anything besides commercials. Why can't you show? I don't know. Why can't you show me clip? I would watch clips of Stephanie's stupid fucking podcast instead of commercials. Like there's a million things you can show me that'll might entice me to give you more money, WWE. And you're not.
They
Karen,
used to. They used to show the ads and not the ad, but like the promos packages for like wrestlers and stuff.
yeah,
They just stopped doing them.
and this got kicked off NBC because nobody was watching it, and I don't know. And the only reason I watched this show, by the way, because you still get the Sunday's main events on Peacock. You don't get them on ESPN. So if this was on ESPN, I wouldn't have watched it. Um, but my whole point is, there's a lot of times where I'm home doing nothing, and I have HBO Max and I have Netflix, and I just don't watch those shows. I don't tune into them. There's no reason for me to tune into them. Like I know like nothing's gonna happen. This goes for both companies, and that's not good.
No, I think things have been very stagnant in both brands, not both brands, both companies. Especially Raw. Raw, you can like besides Seth Rollins getting turned on, you can choreograph like the whole show most of the time. And I don't know why they like it this way. I don't know why. Raw used to be a very must-see show, and it's not just me being like a kid. Like something would happen every week for a very long time. Something would happen every week. And just there was always variety. I between Raw and SmackDown, I saw an old clip, and it would be like The Rock and like Rob Van Dam against like either Booker T and Test or the Dudleys. Like they interacted with each other. Like the mid card and the main event were not separate. And like then the Dudleys would actually get like the win, or Booker T and Test would get the win. And you're like, wow, okay, this is a little different. And of course, The Rock would get his win back later. But it's like nothing, everything's separated. Everything like you already know who wins. Like Cody Rhodes should like lose a match on SmackDown, instead of just going through this like unbeatable run, because then it makes things interesting. What if Carmelo Hayes beat him? What if Aleister Black beat him? Then they get a title shot. Will they win the title? Probably not, but at least you get something a little different than Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre 4, where I assume Drew McIntyre is going to lose again. And then what do you do with this guy?
Yeah, and then AEW, it's like the main event. The main event last on this Wednesday is a trios match. Was I guess a trios tag match, and it's like I don't care. John Moxley is not. Remember, like a year ago, the Death Riders. One of the last Dynamites I watched, like the whole episode through live when I was still in New York. Like the Death Riders were like they weren't even allowed in the building. The face was trying to kill him. Now John Moxley just sitting on commentary being like, I just want to watch the women's match, and Tony Schiavone's talking to him like, so he's not a danger anymore. Like they're not afraid of him. Like it's just like it's boring. It'd be one thing if the Death Riders disbanded, if Hagman Page, but they're still together. But they're just it's boring. Like both companies are like, bro, both companies are in a really bad place right now. They are. Even if WWF storylines were must see, they priced everyone out from following it. AEW just does like look, this thing with the title is just Tony's gonna do what Tony wants. Tony's just gonna do whatever he wants. It doesn't matter if nobody shows up to the building. He's gonna do what he wants. But at the
His
same
own
time,
boss.
yeah, at the same time, I'm like, I don't. This just shows me you don't know what the fuck you're doing that you put this belt. At least get rid of. At least like I don't know. Have Okada like throw his belt in the trash or something. At least do something before you bring in this other belt. That's my whole point. You
Yeah, I don't
know?
know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this belt really will be defended internationally, and we won't see it that often. And we'll see like Mystico have it, so Mystico can defend it all over Mexico and Japan and wherever else he needs to go. But yeah, I mean, even something like that, I think the ops. No, I mean, well, like, what if the ops lost the titles to this makeshift team? That would have made things. It might be a little too WWE-esque, but it would have been. Well, it's something just to carry along the week. And like with John Moxley, I know people were I remember people argued about this on Twitter because after one of his matches, I think the Adam Page one, he was back that Wednesday and like having a match, and people, well, he's not Roman Reigns, he wants to go wrestle. I was like, he should at least sell the fact that he was beat the shit out of for like a week. At least be like a week off and then come back like extra angry. Same thing with the Darby Allin one. Like, why are you back like Wednesday? Like nothing happened. Like, sell the injury. to me at
Yeah.
least.
Well, they can't sell anything. They don't know how to sell. So, um, no one knows how to sell an AEW. But this is my whole, bro. This is like my whole thing. This is really my whole thing too. It's like, you know, it's just this is my thing. Like, yeah, the matches are great. Like, yeah, but there's no denying that Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, at the very least, those two have put their bodies through hell the last
Mm.
6 years. They put their bodies through hell. And Kenny Omega was wrestling in Vertigo, and it's like I love that these wrestlers are going all out. But what frustrates me, if I was Kenny Omega, is that Tony, you need to put more thought in these storylines because these guys are killing themselves so that in 5 years your show's going to be in high school gyms. Like it's just that's how it's going. That's how AJ Styles. I'm sure if he retired in 2013, his body would still be racked with pain. But at least now, the last he's like he can look back at his WrestleMania match with Shane, which stole the show. He can look back at all the stuff he did. At least I killed my body for something. Kenny Omega right now, if he died, it'd be like he killed his body. Like you need to. My whole point is, if you're gonna make these guys kill themselves, you need to have storylines and stakes that matter, so that when these guys are in a fucking wheelchair, like they can look back and be like, all right, but at least like we did something, you know?
I think at least in Kenny's case, he has a whole catalog in New Japan of stuff that he could be
Yeah.
proud of and storylines that like actually meant something. But yeah, I think it's one of the reasons I know people get mad that AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Nakamura, they re-sign with WWE or like a Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne. It's because they don't want to do that aggressive ass style. Like they don't want to do that anymore. Like if Kevin Owens actually
And then for no
left
reason. For no
and then
reason.
went to AEW, which I'm sure would have been cool. He would have had a lot of fun with the Young Bucks. And then still had that neck injury that he ends up having in January. Like, what if AEW didn't catch it? What if things would have been a lot worse? Because he would have been wrestling that more aggressive style that he does every week instead of like with the occasionally with the ladder match with Cody Rhodes, even though he got that injury facing Rey Mysterio. So, hey, maybe it just was meant to just the bump cards. But
Yeah.
I think these guys just don't want to. They're getting older and they don't want to do these crazy ass matches. And who can blame them? Speaking of crazy ass matches, Blood and Guts is next week. Two Blood and Guts uh, on AEW. So that'll be a lot of craziness and a lot of people hurting each other.
Pratik is here. Pratik, your thoughts on Blood and Guts? Are you excited? Will you be there? Will you be bloody and gutting?
It's funny because I believe it's at the Greensboro Coliseum, which is where Sting had his last match. I was there for that. I do like, the venue. It's obviously a historical venue for wrestling, fantastic venue for wrestling. I do think it's good that they're getting, how do you top Sting's last match? So I think it's good that they're doing Blood and Guts in Greensboro. I believe it's their first women's Blood and Guts, right? They've not done
Yeah.
women's Blood and
It's the
Guts.
first with the broads, yes.
My only concern for AEW fans is it too much hardcore? Has there been an overload of hardcore lately? Because keep in mind, Forbidden Door had a lights out cage match, which I was actually there for that because that was the all they wanted to include all the all stars, and I think Omega was kind of injured. I know Osprey was basically not going to be able to wrestle in the O2, and they had to do something to kind of finagle everybody in. So I just wonder for the AEW fan, is this too many hardcore matches happening way too frequently? They just had the I Quit match, they just had the coffin match, and I believe Darby is in the Blood and Guts, so he's probably going to throw himself off a couple things too, So which I'm obviously I'm going to look forward to it, but at the same time, we're talking about guys' health, guys and girls' health. I'm worried about Darby. Is he taking too much impact so close together in the last 3 months? So I'll watch it, but I'm definitely concerned. Is it an overload of the hardcore spots? And we'll see how it goes. I'm more excited for the women's Blood and Guts match because that's something new, and AEW hasn't done it. So let's see what they do
Yeah, let's get the women to bleed more. They haven't done enough bleeding. So, you know.
Anna Jay's in that match, right?
Yeah, yeah. They just trot her out to cut her head open. I'm all for the blood and gut. I don't think women should blade. I think that's kind of like I don't think it's needed. I don't think it adds anything, and I think it turns off newer people. But the fucking sickos of the world love it. What do
I
you
think
think?
She's
it
not
depends
even in the
on.
fucking match. What? Okay, sorry.
Oh, she's not in
She
the
No, it's Jamie Hayter, Willow, Harley Cameron, Tony Storm, Mina Shirakawa, and Chris Statlander against the Triangle of Madness, Megan Bayne, Marina Shafir, and Mercedes Monet. But didn't they start the feud with Tay? They started the feud with Ty Mello and Anna Jay. That's how this worked. I don't know.
You know what? I wouldn't. Maybe Anna Jay said I'm not bleeding again. I'm not doing that
Maybe. I
because
mean,
it's a
it's a stronger roster for sure, but I figured they would have been in the match. Maybe they'll win the tag tournament. Who knows?
yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Anna Jay was like, I'm not doing that again. Like that's it. I'm sorry. Like fuck it. I don't know. It's. Also, I do think like, is it 3 hours next week, guys, or is it a 2 hour show?
2.5, they're saying.
I think with those matches, it should be three, but like just give it more time. But whatever.
Are they gonna do their version of like the Royal Rumble with the two rings or whatever? Are they gonna bring that back?
I assume so.
I
Because
assume so.
that was always a fun little thing, you know. And to utilize both rings like that, I think that much I'll have to give Tony Khan credit. He does a good job with the double rings and the different matches that aren't blood and guts utilizing the double ring. So that'll be interesting too.
Well, I think that Tony Khan should be arrested. Yeah, I don't know, bro. It's a rough time to be a wrestling fan. It really is. They are hurtling towards doom. Here is the thing: your competition. This is what I would say: is not WWE. Your competition is not AEW. Your competition is me taking a nap and watching Total Recall. That's your competition because both companies are not doing well right now. Storyline. If you think they are, if you think one of them is better than the other, you're out of your. They both stink, and they need to step it up. They need to step it up, and WWE needs to figure this out. Look, this is the thing. You know why wrestling got so hot in 2023 and 2024 and 2022. It's not because Vince McMahon left. It's not. It's because people heard that there was a network and they could watch all the old stuff they watched as kids. And they went and they got it and they watched all the old stuff they liked as kids. And then because the pay per views were included, they watched those and they got back into it. And I'm sure the same thing happened with Peacock. People heard like, oh, like all the Raws are on Peacock. Oh, I'm going to watch all the Raws from '97. They watched that. They then checked out the main roster, the new current roster, and then they got invested in Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes and all that shit. That's why it was so hot. Time and time again, I've heard of people who relapsed, who got the network or got Peacock to watch the old shit, and then they got back in. And you know why the Netflix numbers are so bad? And I'll tell you why. It's because they don't have all the Raws. They have very few Raws.
Yeah.
So there are probably millions of people that would watch all the Raws. They would leave Raw on while they did work. They would leave Netflix and the Raws on all day. But the Raws aren't up there. They're like parsing it out. The claim is so we could keep people subscribed. No, bro, if you have all the archives on Netflix, I'll never cancel Netflix. You can stop Netflix can stop making new content tomorrow. But if they have the entire WWE, WCW, ECW, Mid South, Go Fuck Your Mother, AWA, Smoky Mountain archives, I will never stop subscribing. Ever. 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 Pro wrestling, every wrestling company go out of business today. I will give Netflix $30 a month to get that fucking archive. And that's how you get people reinvested. People would be like, hey, you have Netflix, right? Yeah. Hey, they have every Raw, every Raw, every Raw. And then they'd fucking watch it. And then they'd be like, let me try new Raw. And then they'd be like, oh, Jey Uso, I'm going to yeet. That's how it works. And the fact that they've given up the archives and they made it so no one's gonna spend $30 for fucking Survivor Series. See Dominic Mysterio wrestle John Cena. And I know I love Dominic. That's just the truth. So what do you want from me?
It might be Dominic versus Rey Mysterio now, based off of what was going on Monday.
No one's gonna be there for that either. And I love both guys. I'm just being, like, what do you guys think about that? What do you think about that?
I think you can
sorry,
go.
it's more just, yeah, I think the main I've noticed in the last few years, I've had some comedian friends, non-comedian friends who are kind of casual fans who kind of got excited in the last few years of wrestling. And their big thing is, yeah, it's so hard to find the arc. I do think you brought up a good point about the fact that the archives do get people invested in the history and get back into it. I know a lot of people who kind of fell out in the Attitude Era, but during the pandemic, during those first 2 or 3 years after things opened up, they were getting into the archives and watching a lot of wrestling. You'll see on TikTok like the Luigi Primo, the pre-pizza guy, like his stuff kind of like people got into like the camp part of wrestling and the spectacle of wrestling again. And I do think having the archives in one place is crucial as a fan. I'm also just kind of like, if everything moved to here's the other thing, like, okay, it's going to move to ESPN, but is it all? It's just like with Peacock. It didn't all roll in one. It took almost like a year and a half for all the old AWA and the ECW. Yes, they censored a little bit of ECW, whatever, but I don't understand why they can't just roll everything out at once, whether it's ESPN, Peacock, wherever. I think Ray said, I'll pay for it, but put it out at the same time. I think it's the slowness of the rollout that really concerns me and really bothers me.
Well, I'll tell you, if the archives are not on ESPN, if the archives just vanish and they think that just putting them on YouTube is good enough, they are going to realize very fast what a mistake they made, because I will cancel Peacock if there's no archives. I will fucking cancel. Well, I don't even have ESPN. I won't subscribe to any service that WWE is on. I don't have cable. So you're going to get $0 from me if you get rid of these archives. Whereas they're going to realize how many people passively just gave them money every month for the ability to watch like one Raw on a Saturday afternoon and then go about their lives. And they're gonna fucking realize that they are making a lot of stupid decisions, a lot of stupid decisions. And I hate to defend this guy, but Vince McMahon wouldn't be making decisions this fucking dumb. He wouldn't.
It's frustrating to not have like we do this show and I see something that happens on the Sunday night and I want to know what happens again on the Monday night and I can't watch it because it's
But
no longer available. So
Right.
at least through the regular mean I can find it elsewhere, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to go find it, download it, watch it there. I want to watch it on my TV on the thing that I'm paying multiple dollars a month for that's supposed
Yeah.
to have everything on it. But I don't know what the deal is with this. I think it's all going to YouTube. I can't really see anybody paying for WWE archives unless they strike a deal with Paramount and have like a WWE channel or something like that, like for like Pluto and or
Which I would
Amazon or
that
something
would
like
be
that.
fine. I would love
But
that. It's
as
like
long as the archives are there, if the archives are just like we're gonna control like kind of what they're doing with the YouTube, like the nitros. I think someone put on a WCW Reddit like there's like so little nitros from each. There may be like 5 nitros from each year, and that's like
I don't think they want to put up anything with Benoit.
yeah, which is half of their
Benoit,
stuff.
because
But
which is like, I mean, like let's just fucking. He's a murderer, but that does we need to see all the episodes. I'm sorry, like fucking, if fucking
they have all the pay-per-views and they have the Raw where they debuted as the Radicals. Like, so it's funny what they're selecting and what they're not.
if Tom Brady murders his wife and kids, are they going to just take away the fucking Super Bowl championships and we're not going to talk about those Super Bowls? Are they going to take down the banners of the Super Bowls? Or are they just going to fucking be like, ah, that sucked. Anyway, we won the Super Bowl 97 times. It's like
they're
okay.
probably gonna take them down.
The roast of Tom Brady that stays on forever.
Yeah, at least that way you can roast the alleged murderer there.
It's like
But
I'm sorry this guy killed his family. I still want to watch Nitro. I mean, I don't think that doesn't affect the family. Listen, woman's sister is even like, yeah, I can still kind of watch the old stuff with my sister and enjoy it. Like just put it up, like leave it up there. Like it's fine. It's fine. I'm not gonna go kill my family because I fucking watch Chris Benoit matches.
I
I'm like
I,
there's
I
watch
miss
fucking Omega matches. I'll tell you that much.
I miss the platform of the network. I know the network took a couple years to get to that functionality, but it was perfect. You could find like where you can't even what I can't even find anymore are the NXT TV episodes or like
There, some of them
they're
are
on
on.
Tubi.
It's on Tubi.
Some of them are on Tubi, not all of them.
Yeah,
Some of them are on YouTube as well. So they're all over the place.
And the CW app has the CW era episodes, but there's
not the
unskippable.
old ones. It's so confusing. Like, why can't you? Okay, like NXT should be in one. If you want to put different companies in different channels, like that's fine. But why are the new episodes on this thing and the old episodes you have to go over here? Like, I don't. Yeah,
And you know what? You could always be like, well, you know what? I could just buy the DVDs, like, right? Like I'd buy, like I missed the Crown Jewel show. I would buy the DVD or the Blu-ray right now. Like if it was at Walmart to see that John Cena AJ Styles match, there's no more DVDs or Blu-rays. There's just no way to own anything or to fucking, so it's like, you know what? Then you don't need a single dollar from me. You don't need a single dollar from me, you fucking idiots.
And I know
You
the Blu-rays for a while, they were running, at least the big four, they were putting out Blu-rays because of the India market and the Asian market, because they were still really buying those Blu-rays. So I feel like that just stopped because of TKO. Like maybe like after 40, maybe like after that big merger, after 40. Yeah.
that's the other thing with the WrestleManias. Like at least if you're gonna stop putting WrestleMania on Blu-ray, at least end with 40. So you're
Yeah.
like, all right, first 40. They ended with 39. So it's like it's even on a weird number of like all the WrestleManias that you can own on physical
Well, you
media.
can't find 40 on Blu-ray.
They never put on 40. You have to buy a bootleg. The last pay-per-view they put on DVD was Survivor Series 2023. That's it.
Is that
Nothing else.
yeah, well, that was a good moment though.
Good no tend on CM Punk. All right.
So they just in case anybody wants to know, on Netflix internationally, the NXTs are all the takeovers up until 2022, where you get NXT 2.0, more pay-per-views and NXT, some of NXT 2.0, and then from 23 and 24 you get all the episodes.
VPN, baby. That's the next.
Yeah, yes, I found this. I'm not saying how.
Okay. Don't.
Shout
All
out to
right.
Gary
Well,
in Scotland. He's probably enjoying the
I guess
Exactly.
if we move to England, we can watch the all the pay-per-views until the right wingers take over there and execute because we're foreigners. You think by the way, you think American right wingers are bad. Fucking England right wingers. Whew, they don't fucking play. England racists? England because they don't have the guilt. They don't have the guilt that American racists kind of still have. They don't have no fucking guilt. They're like, bro, bro, get out of here, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't fucking have any guilt about being
Uh,
racist. They
That's
think
what
they
they sound like.
what?
That's what they sound like.
Did you
Bro,
ever did you ever hear so after World War I, a lot of black soldiers were like, well, America treats us like shit, so we're gonna just stay in England and like start a life there. And they basically like were dragged to the docks and shot or shoved on a boat. And they were like, we're not even gonna let you start a Harlem. We're just gonna fucking shoot you. Like you don't even get like here's your own
Jesus.
water fountain. We're just gonna fucking put you in a wood chipper. So you better get back on that fucking boat and go back to New York. That's a true like they had like they were like, no, you got to go back to America. Like you're not staying here. We don't give a fuck. What do you think
Wow.
they treat you bad? You think that's bad treatment? Where do you see what we're?
Well, good thing I have no real interest of going to England. But
I know. So yeah. So like I read a book, but from the Harlem Renaissance, and the guy comes back to Harlem. He's like, you think that at least they allow us to like have a job here and fucking get an apartment. I mean,
on that note, I will take my podcast bathroom break, which seems to be a regular thing now, and then be back for Halloween.
All right. So okay. So now that we've shit on England critique, um,
you want me to do my Bad Blood review before we get into Halloween Havoc?
yeah, let me hear your thoughts on Bad Blood, and then we'll get into Halloween Havoc. So you weren't able to give us your overall thoughts on that show.
Overall, like obviously I knew about the main event, loved the main event. It was good to go back and watch the main event with the kind of remembering the commentary and how they paced it out. I'm sure you guys talked about this last week, but just like such ring psychology that's missing from today's product. Like moves that matter, everything matters. The just the little tidbits that the commentary are doing, just the teases and everything. It was perfect. It felt like I went back in time. It was such a great nostalgia trip, the main event. But I was very surprised by the undercard. I went in with very low expectations for the undercard. There were some fantastic matches on the undercard. Farouk and Owen Hart, that definitely on paper you might be excited, you might not, but I thought that was a great match. Maybe could have gone another 5 minutes. That match, like the actual technical part of that match was great. Obviously, that match you got sidetracked by the Austin interference. Austin messing with the foreign commentators. I don't know if you guys talked about that last week. That's Austin.
Oh no, Great though.
That was great. And just him, he's people for we're all comics here. He has really good timing as a shit talker. I think it's some of the best, funniest things I've watched in wrestling. But yeah, Austin messing with the foreign commentators was great. Having Austin kind of involved in this vacated title storyline was great. So it made that match extra interesting. The mini match, I thought it would be kind of chaos, but it was still like controlled chaos. I think Mike Chioda, a young Mike Chioda, deserves a lot of props for directing traffic with that minis match because it was like all over the place. And again, like heel Jerry Lawler messing with the minis is great. The little like headset spot was great too. Like there's all these little touches that I like. Um, I really liked. I went in with low expectations because I'm not the biggest Headbangers fan, but they got me emotionally invested in that Headbangers and Godwin's match.
That was a very good match, man. If you, I've seen, I looked up this show on. I was talking about this last week. People gave that match bad reviews. If you think that's a bad tag match, you don't know tag team wrestling.
You
That was
don't, yeah.
great tag match. I thought hands off, all four guys killed it. I loved it.
Hands on, all four guys killed it. A very good big Haas move, good use of everybody's size, good use of tag team wrestling. The Confederate flags. There's that one shot where like the black kids are like giving the finger to the Confederate flag in the Confederate flag in the audience. Pardon. But it was like the crowd really got into it, and yeah, it's funny because on paper the card kind of the undercard isn't as great, but it really surprised me, and and the crowd really got into some of those matches. And I felt like the Headbangers, they were kind of given the ball a little bit, and then I don't know what happened, but the crowd really got into them as a face, and there was good heel heat from the Godwins. I forgot how much of a heel magnet the Godwins were, but yeah, great match.
I think if you don't pay attention, like when I got back into it, remember I get back into it in the early '98, and I rented WrestleMania 13. When the Headbangers came out, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, "What's going on?" Since I stopped watching, these guys look like idiots. So if you just see these guys in a void, you think they look like idiots. And if you're watching, I'll be honest, if it's head to head Nitro Raw and they walk out, and on the other channel is Eddie Guerrero or Macho Man or
Right.
DDP or
People
Gold
like that.
Chris Benoit, you're probably gonna go to the other channel. But I think if you invested in these guys and you were like, no, 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 we're gonna stay with this, I think they would have worked. I think this was the thing with the New Age Outlaws is that they couldn't deliver in the ring. They had great charisma, they could brawl, but in like a regular match, their regular matches are unwatchable. Wait till we get to, if we ever get to them. But these guys could deliver in the ring. So I think if Vince McMahon really got behind them in 98, 99, I think it would be it'd be a very different world for those two guys because they're not what you think they are. But I do feel like if you just glance at them, if you're not paying attention, if you're not locked in, you just change the channel. When because they just look like idiots. They look like fucking losers,
They look like goons or something.
Yeah, they look like this is a waste of my time when Hogan's on the other channel or Guerrero and Mysterio are on the other channel. I'm not gonna watch these guys. Yeah. Is Kyle you back or
Yeah, I'm
oh,
right here. I'm right here.
oh, oh maybe Tony Khan killed you. All right.
No, he another
So
day.
you want to just give a quick thought about the main event, then we'll move on to Halloween Havoc?
Of the main event of Undertaker, Shawn
Yeah, if we
Michaels.
want to talk about that, or do you talk about
Yeah,
that?
yeah, we talked about it, but I mean, I think it was a great match between the two of them, and then the Kane debut is one of those perfect WWE debuts. And I think I mentioned last week they actually redubbed over the "That's got to be Kane." That's not the original voice that we
No.
hear. Vince McMahon goes and dubs it over again, which is very interesting because it's so embedded in our heads. But I think it was a perfect debut for Kane. Great match with The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Might have been the little knock on the door for Shawn Michaels when he took that bump off the ladder. I mean, not ladder, off the cell. Like the next to last big bump that he took, and it was unfortunate. But no, overall, great main event, great debut for Kane.
Yeah. Pratik, do you want to talk about that match?
Yeah, like final thoughts, like yeah, like just a good convergence of storyline, ring psychology, great debut for Kane. Glad Glenn Jacobs finally got a character that worked after he had been through the ringer of different characters, like Isaac Yankem, and then wasn't he like fake Diesel for a
Yeah, he
while?
was. I almost bought the figure, but Glenn is such a horrible person. I was like, I can't buy this now. If I knew,
Yeah,
if it came out a few years before, I would have bought the new Diesel figure,
that
but I can't
that
do
one
it
is
now.
such a. I was such a huge Kane fan, especially in the beginning. He was so. I kind of thought for a while, not to parallel to AEW, but for a while, I thought Luchasaurus was going to be like the next Kane. You know what I mean? Like both agile guys, kind of dark figures, mysterious or whatever. But it didn't work out for Lucha. Meanwhile, like Prime Kane back in the day, like God, he could move so smooth. I know we're not going to talk about the matches yet, but like yeah, like I was a big fan of Kane back in the day. There was a period there as a kid where I thought Kane's choke slam was smoother and crisper than Taker's. For a while. I just loved his choke slam.
I can see
Well,
that, and they made it his finisher, so like it was more effective.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, well, what a shame. Anyway, what's it? Manami will put him in prison soon, and we'll have to worry about him. So, um, all right, fuck you, Kane. Okay, let's talk about Halloween Havoc, 1997. This show made me very happy and also made me very mad. It's I get frustrated listening to these guys nowadays. The guys talk about WCW because it's never anybody's fault. Eric Bischoff, even though Eric Bischoff's in charge of everything, he blames other people. Kevin Sullivan blames other people. Kevin Nash blames other people. Hulk Hogan used to blame other people. Booker T. Now, and I know Booker T had no decision making in 1997, but I'm just saying everyone blames other people. Ric Flair. At the end of the day, I would like everyone, including Booker T, to take credit. This was a group effort. You guys had something special, and you fucking blew it. And you can feel like this company was worth saving. This company was worth preserving. The wrestling world would be very different if they didn't go out of business. I really do believe that. And I think it would have been a healthier business today for the wrestlers and everything in terms of like making money, in terms of wrestling as an art form. And the first half of this show is like this is WCW at its peak. And then when we get to that fucking main event, man, that main event is so bad. It's so I think it has to be at this point Hulk Hogan's worst match on pay per view. I don't know if he had a worst match on a house show, but that main event is so bad and it's so apparent that they need to move on from the NWO, and they don't. They don't. Kyle, your overall thoughts on this show?
It is a tale of two shows. You start off very hot with the cruiserweight action and the mid card action. Even a surprise, well, now seems like a surprise for Goldberg since we've known how his career has turned out. And then you get to the NWO of it all with Hall and Savage and Hogan. And even though the Savage DDP match is good, you're still like, why is this like the ending? And of course, the cage match was just so convoluted, and it's just. I mean, I'm not even watching everything weekly, and I'm tired of seeing fake stings. I'm like, I don't want to see another fake sting. Why do we have so many fake stings? I don't want to see another one.
Critique your overall thoughts on the show, then we'll go match by match.
It really is. It's kind of a like if you look up WCW like in a dictionary of that era, it really is that like it's you have the mid card which is growing all these young talents coming up, and the crowd is getting behind them too. That's the other thing. I was trying to notice the crowd for like obviously the Rey Mysterio Eddie Guerrero match and like the first match as well, which was a good opener. Like on paper, you don't really know who these guys are, but then they're coming in. The crowd is getting behind them. They're using great ring psychology, and then the people that the stars that you love, you're seeing, like I wanted to get more into that Macho Man match, but it went a little bit too. I'm looking at the time on that, like that easily they could have shaved off 5 minutes off that match.
Mhm.
What he was getting gassed, and it's disappointing because like a big Macho Man fan. He's actually from the like one town over. He grew up in a town called Downers Grove, and that's like one town over for where I grew up from. So I've always kind of been connected to Macho Man. But watching him here, I'm just like, oof, like way too gassed, way too long. They could have trimmed that, given more time to some of the younger guys. They could have done things to kind of manipulate and use a bit more smoke and mirrors. So I'm definitely it is interesting how it is such a memorable. Like people look back on that pay per view because of the few matches that worked, but we're overlooking so many things that didn't work, and it's left a bad
Yeah,
taste in the mouth with the ending for sure.
and if I'm in 1997 and I'm Eric Bischoff and I see that Rey Mysterio Eddie Guerrero match, and I know in December I have fucking Bret Hart, I am just like, oh my God, the money I'm gonna make with injecting Brett into this. And oh my God, and then but also Hogan, and oh my God, Savage. And yeah, I can mix all these guys in and use Brett as like the centerpiece to eventually upgrade Eddie and upgrade. They don't do any of it. They don't do any of it. And Bischoff just goes on, I'm going to waste the money Bret Hart was. Eric Bischoff, you're a fucking moron. You're a fucking, you got, it's just like, bro, I don't know how else to say it, but it's like you're playing with house money, and you have all the pieces to make a dynasty, an AEW dynasty.
Hey, he
Yeah,
didn't see value in those pieces, unfortunately. He didn't see value in the Jericho Guerreros and
just telling you that there's value. Again, I never watched this show all the way through, so I would just assume that Ray, and Eddie were like rustling to silence, and all of us on the internet were enjoying it. No, the crowd's more into Eddie and Ray than they are Hogan and Piper. What are you doing? What are you doing? They fucking have the Headbangers and the Goblins on their channel, and you're gonna lose to them? What are you doing? Anyway, the Patriots.
I
They
don't
have
know.
the Patriots on fucking Raw, and you're gonna lose to them. And if you anyway, you know what I'm saying, Pratik?
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I don't want to get into specifics of the Mysterio and where match, but
No,
also
let's go match. Let's go match by match. Let's go match by match. Okay. So here we go. Halloween Havoc. Besides, they don't really do a lot of Halloween stuff on this show. They don't like really go spooky spooky or whatever. They just have, but I like the set. I love,
The spooky great kabuki comes
yeah.
out.
They don't do like any like they're not dressed up. Although I do like their polo shirts. I'm looking at a picture right now of the announcers in the Halloween Havoc polo shirts. I would get that, and I would wear that on Halloween night, handing out candy. And I love the set. I love the set. I wish they would go back to stuff like this for AEW and stuff like this. WWE, I know they're never going to do anything this cool, but man, a set like this is so much more impressive than the WrestleMania Vegas set or all these screens. I wish they would go back to this. I would. It would. How did you guys like the set? I love the set.
I love that set. And I believe, can you play this set in Revenge? I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember. It's a different Halloween.
It's in a couple of video games, yeah.
Yeah.
It might be in 2K22, 23, one of
Yeah.
them as
Okay.
well.
this has so much more. That's why like sometimes I get like people say how different AEW is, and it's basically the same fucking set as Raw. If you think about it, like I wish they would do more stuff like this. They should. Come on.
I don't
You
know
know?
if this is an excuse, but the warehouse guy for WWE Archives, like he said, because there's a video where he does like a warehouse tour and he shows the old sets and he goes, I know fans really like these old sets, but on HD, like some of the materials that we use, it doesn't look as well. But I'm like, you could just get better materials. You could still, in my opinion, you could construct a set like this. Just use the better materials for the HD cameras. I still think there's a way to do it. At the very least, for a Mania or a Big Four pay per view, I still think it's possible.
And you know what? I don't care that this thing looks like a styrofoam head. I don't care. It still looks better than the fucking screens. I don't give a fuck if the thing fell down on Macho Man when he came out. It's better. Like it still looks. I understand what you're saying. That's
Yeah.
nonsense. I don't care.
Well,
Well,
I'm disagreeing with Ben's argument. I'm just saying is that their logic? I guess. Yeah, that's
yeah,
what.
get the logic, but whatever. All right, first match: Yuji Nagata versus Ultimo Dragon. Sonny Ono has been trying to get revenge on Ultimo Dragon this whole summer, fall. They used to be best friends. Uh, this was a great match, and you know what? Sonny Ono's not that annoying in this match. Usually he's distracting. There's been a lot of great matches that WCW had. Sonny Ono is just really annoying. First of all, Sonny Ono shouldn't have been on camera. He's one of the reasons why the company went out of business. I know that you think I'm exaggerating. I'm not, because this was a guy who was Eric Bischoff's friend, who has no talent, who basically he shits on his people. He just acts like a cartoon character, an Asian cartoon character. He's garbage. Should have been on TV. And the fact that Eric Bischoff still says he's one of the he was such a important part of WCW. No, he was your friend. He was your friend, and you wanted to give him a paycheck. That's why you're done. That's why you're done, and that's why we got to pay for fucking ESPN $30. Ah,
It all comes back to that.
yeah, because the long term damage that these WCW guys did by not, I just wish Eric Bischoff would be like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know he'll never, he once said he doesn't regret anything. He wouldn't take back a single thing. And I go, I would take back a lot of things, actually. I would, I have regrets, and I didn't run a company out of business, you fucking moron. Anyway, um, this was a great match, though. This was a very good match. Yuji Nagata is a guy that we don't talk about enough, but he was just another like nice little secret ingredient to WCW, and I thoroughly enjoyed this match. Kyle, your thoughts?
It was a great way to start the show, and Ultimo Dragon people were into. Yuji Nagata, yeah, it was a good foe for the Ultimo Dragon. Both of them, I believe, still wrestling to this day, which is very
Yeah,
impressive.
Brian Danielson on Collision a few years ago. Remember that?
He did, yeah. So they're still going, which is great. You get your classic Ultimo Dragon light blue, the teal Ultimo, which to me is like top tier Ultimo gear. So it's a good match. They start talking about that injury that Ultimo had because I know shortly after he either leaves, he gets the surgery that he has to like temporarily retire from, or I can't remember when exactly he leaves. But I remember when I was younger, the bone chips were like a big deal. They would not shut up about the bone chips, and it was just it was a good match. And if that was one of Ultimate Dragon's last WCW matches, went out on a high.
Mm-hmm. Great stuff.
Well, low because he lost, but high as in a good match.
Until the summer of '98, because I remember he's at Spring Stampede or Slamboree, so he's still on.
Okay, my
Pratik,
timeline's all messed up.
yes, it is, but I'm still.
Yeah, like just great opener. Crowd is in it, and I believe they only have like 9 minutes, so they maximize them. Well, is that I believe that's the old Dusty Rhodes saying, maximize your minutes. They did so much in 9 minutes. Great counters, great maneuvers. I wasn't the most familiar with Ultimate Dragon, but I'm trying to go back and watch more of his stuff. I think it's good that they were trying to, it was almost like a soup, like wrestling soup, like so many different styles of wrestling on the show. And I do think, yeah, I don't know if Bischoff gets all the credit for that, but I do think it's good that they were trying to do different types of wrestling. It wasn't just one type of wrestling the whole show. So I'm glad they got to include this. It was a good match. Sonny Ono, yeah, at certain times I do think he was a bit over the top with the characterization. I am glad though it is an Asian person doing that characterization as opposed to a white guy doing the dubbing. I'm sure I don't know if you remember Kai and Ty. That was Shane McMahon doing the shitty dubbing. So I'd rather have Sonny Ono doing it as opposed to a white guy dubbing it in. That's what I'll say.
Ono is more racially offensive to my Andrew Lee is Korean. He was the former co-host.
Right.
So Sonny Ono was more offensive to him than Shane's voice. That's how bad. Sonny Ono seems like a white guy pretending like a white guy in like an Asian bodysuit. Like that's um. But yeah, man, I really Ultimate Dragon. When I get back into wrestling very soon on the timeline in early, but I got for Christmas in the N64 WCW versus NWO World Tour. And I have to admit, when I saw Rey Mysterio and Ultimate Dragon, I don't know who they are, but they're on the characters. I selected them. And Ultimate Dragon's moveset in the game was so impressive. I was like, if this guy wrestles like this on the show, he's got to be one of their top guys. And obviously he wasn't. But Ultimate Dragon is one of the reasons that he's one of the characters that, oh, what's going on in WCW? And when you just see all these people standing in a lineup, he seems like a good guy to go against the NWO. Which of course they don't do. They don't do. They just squander it. They just squander it. So, he's why not? Fuck it. Who cares? Who cares that half these wrestlers are now poor and Almost died of drug overdoses. Eric Bischoff doesn't regret a single thing. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he was good in the game, so I'll give you that.
Yeah, no, yes. All right. Next match. And this Gato, he books New Japan, right?
Yeah, he still does, right? I believe so.
I believe
Critique.
so.
Does he? This guy?
I believe so.
Okay. Okay, so I never really heard anything about this guy except for like I feel like once you become a booker, people just shit on you, no matter what, whether you're a comedy booker or a wrestling booker, because I've always heard people shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there you go.
Your matches go away, and it's just people hitting you up for spots.
Yep, and the same thing when you're a wrestling booker, you're suddenly a big fucking idiot and you were never good in the ring.
Right.
So Gato, I remember seeing that this match on the card, and I didn't expect much because Gato kind of has like this, Burger Show producer, Burger Show producer. This match was fucking good. You had to give it to Gato. Him and Jericho had great chemistry. This was an unannounced match, but for an unannounced match, for a guy who kind of looks like he's out of shape, crowd doesn't know who he is. 1997, they got the crowd into it, and this was a really good match. I think Jericho likes Gato. I think they're friends. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think they are. And I thought this was a great showcase of young Jericho. I really liked the action this match. I was ready to not like this match. I was ready to not like Gato. Very impressed. Very impressed. I'm glad he's booking New Japan. I'm proud of him. Kyle, your thoughts?
Another good match. Gato, Chris Jericho, they knew each other from before. Even though it was announced as a special attraction match, people got into it. Good spot for Jericho. Just, just good. I know there's like a couple scary spots in there, but just a continued momentum of the show from Ultimo and then Ghetto, Chris Jericho, and the show's starting on a high.
Yeah. Pratik, your thoughts on Gato the booker versus Jericho the producer?
Jericho, the yeah, this was a good attraction match. Something you don't want to maybe start with that. I think the second or third spot is good for these type of matches to kind of just keep the momentum going. I thought it was placed well. Crowd didn't really know him, but they got into it. I think Jericho, people forget that prime young Jericho was like someone who could wrestle a broom mat. He really knows how to elevate people, make people look good. Clearly, they had natural chemistry. I'm sure they had a history wrestling. I believe Jericho wrestled in All Japan, New Japan, so I believe he had wrestled him before too. I'm not sure on the timeline, but yeah, no, this is a fantastic match. I missed that prime Jericho. It's been a while since I've watched some of Jericho's older stuff. I've seen a little bit of his stuff in 2000, but this show, this podcast has been a great opportunity for me to go back and watch really young prime Jericho, and I think people are kind of more annoyed with him lately, but I do think you have to go back and look at his past matches, and he did a lot to make people look good, and I think he still deserves credit for that, and I hope this later part of his legacy doesn't tarnish his early work, because he had some really he had some really good bangers early on, and his early WWE work was great too. And I just, it's nice to remember that, once in a while, and not just think about the Trump supporting weirdo that he's become.
So I have an idea for his return.
Yeah.
This is to WWE. So they announced that on SmackDown, Javon Evans is in the John Cena tournament, and he's going to wrestle someone that doesn't work here. And Javon comes to the ring, and you hit Joe Henry's music, and the crowd goes nuts. But then in the walkway is Jericho doing this, and when he turns around, the Joe Henry music ends, and it goes "Break the walls down," and you cut, and Joe Henry's in the back, like knocked out, and Jericho took his place. Jericho and Javon, I hope they have a great match. Jericho beats him though, and Jericho takes the mic, and he's like, "I'm not gonna let Cena retire until I get one last shot at him." And the basic thing is the finals are Jericho and Gunther. Joe Henry costs Jericho the match. Gunther moves on to the finals. Moves on to the match with with Cena. But I think Jericho coming back to try to get one last shot at Cena, I think that is the best way to have him return. And then you start a feud with him and Joe Henry. And you can help Joe Henry. What do you think, Kyle?
Is Jericho already done? Is his contract up already?
That's the rumor that he's already verbally committed to WWE.
I mean, if that, I mean, that'd be quite the way to start off the tournament, especially, well, Madison Square Garden, especially because you have Boston. The matches are already taking place, unless you take out like Damian Priest or whatever. That guy's
Mm-hmm.
been through enough storyline wise. But what a surprise at Madison Square Garden if you get the return of Chris Jericho, especially if he takes out somebody like who's very popular like Joe Hendry. And yeah, it would be cool. And it would also make this Cena tournament, whether you love Jericho or hate him,
Yeah,
it would make this mean something because there's a legend coming back, someone that we have not seen in
yeah.
WWE in 6 even more years, come back to be John Cena's last match. Especially since John Cena was the one who retired him the first time in '05.
And then I would have So yeah, because my idea would be like Jericho gives Javon a great match and builds him up, and he gives Gunther a great match and builds him up, and then you play with it, and you have Jericho and Joe Henry wrestle at WrestleMania, and that's when you'd say to Joe Henry, if you're going to be more than the guy who goes, "Say my name and I appear," your test is at WrestleMania, and you say to Jericho, your goal is to get Henry to the next level. And if Henry can't, like, we don't want to fandango this guy. We want to see if he can do it. He can't do it. He can't do it. But if he can't get over having a match with Jericho at WrestleMania, then I don't know. But like, yeah, I think that's the best use for Jericho right now is to get guys like Javon, Gunther, Joe Henry. I think ultimately you gotta have him fight Dominic. I mean, you gotta have him fight Dominic. That's and get these guys over with the Wolves. Get them over.
Yeah, I think whenever if Jericho does go to AEW, which I think he should personally, I think he's worn out his AEW welcome, and WWE fans, the WWE universe would treat him a little better. So I think that he knows he's at the end of his road. He knows he's at the end, whether he says it or not. He knows he's at the end. So putting people over, maybe not losing every match like when like the
No,
Dudleys came back,
it's got to
but
be this work. Yes, yes.
I think just working with the young talent and elevating them, and I guess some other weird reinvention that he always does, is the way to go for him.
Critique. What do you think? Jericho coming back to put over all the young guys and
I
different.
really like the idea of Jericho and Hendry, and you could do but like build it out, like wait, keep it for like a Mania or a Rumble, like keep it special. You could have this. Yeah, I like the idea of something with Hendry. I like the idea of Jericho. I truly, when they said the line, it's going to be people that don't work in this company anymore for the tournament. That was my first thought was a Jericho type coming in, and that would be a good surprise for the tournament because I don't know, like the a tournament. I'm mixed on the idea. I'm more intrigued by the matches than the opponents. So and I do think you can't just have a bunch of new guys in the tournament. You need past opponents as well. It has to be a good mix of people from Cena's career. Um,
Mhm.
you could also have I don't know when have they announced if the finals of the tournament are at Survivor Series or if it's later. Uh, I like
I
the idea of
I think it's too soon to do Survivor Series. I think it's going to be like probably like on a Raw in December or
which
something.
makes more sense because what you could do is I don't know if they've announced Cena's match for Survivors. You could have a couple of the past guys, who get knocked out of the tournament, the past opponents. Maybe Cena fights them in the War Games match. So it's like Cena versus some of Cena with a few baby faces fighting against the heels of his past, and that might be a way to kind of keep Survivor Series exciting, as opposed to just a singles match for Cena because it's almost like the singles match that he has before his final matches now are almost less important.
Yeah.
But if you do put him in the War Games match, which I don't believe he's ever been in a War Games match, so that'll be a way to
No.
keep it exciting. And I don't think he should be having too many singles matches now before his final match. Maybe keeping him tags to keep that because then it just kind of negates the singles match. Although I do want him to have something with Dominic, whether that is the final match or not. I do think Cena and Dominic, there's a lot of history there. Cena and Ray have had history. So to me, you have to have Cena Dominic, whether or not that's the final match. But Yeah, no, I'm intrigued by Jericho coming into this tournament. I was afraid they were going to do something, which I'm glad they didn't do. I thought they were going to do something where Jericho comes in and costs Punk the title, or they set up a Punk Jericho feud. I'm not opposed to that, but we don't need that right away. I do think I like this idea of Jericho elevating a Carmelo Hayes or elevating a Trick Williams. I think that's a better use of Jericho. Or if Obafemi comes in, maybe someone like that. I think Jericho helping the new guys makes way more sense than Jericho going straight to a past feud. You can do that, keep it special, but save it. And I think Kyle, you brought up a very good point. I was thinking, I don't want just Jericho to come in and lose. This is not, again, it's not Dudley Boys in fucking 2014 or where the fuck that was. Like you have to win matches and make guys look good, not just blindly lose the entire way. And some of that 50-50 booking they were doing in 2013, 2014, that just doesn't moments need to matter, wins and losses need to
It
matter.
doesn't help anybody.
No, it doesn't.
You know what? Yeah, that's fucking stupid. Yeah, I like the fact that Sheamus is in the tournament because he's like an old rival of Cena's. So I like the fact that he's in it and Rusev's in it. I also think, yeah, so those are like two guys that wrestled Cena on major shows. There needs to be a little bit more of that, though. There needs to be a little bit more guys who have an axe to grind with Cena, not just a bunch of young guys who want to, I don't know. I like that stuff. Okay, so let's get into something I really, really like. It is Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero. This is heralded as one of the greatest cruiserweight matches of all time, and I would agree. This is this is probably top five WCW match of all time. This match is as I can't emphasize how good this match is. This match is nonstop action. This match is state of the art. To this day, to this day, I don't think anything in AEW has come close to this match. I do feel like a lot of AEW matches, as much as anti-Fed they are, follow the WWE pattern. This doesn't. This match ends on a fluke, which is great. These guys go at it. It was time. You watch this match and you're like, it is time for Eddie Guerrero. Maybe not Ray yet. It's time to elevate Eddie Guerrero. It is time. It could not have been clearer on this night that he's gotta beat Macho Man or Kevin Nash or something. Like it's time. You gotta do it. And they didn't do it. And they didn't do it. And they didn't do it. And look where we are. But this is this match is one of the reasons. This is everything I love about WCW. This is everything that was great about WCW. This is just if you want to see a perfect match, this is the match. Rey Mysterio wins. Both guys prove it. These guys were the future. It's so frustrating because again, I hate to keep emphasizing this, but like they just ignore this. And I get frustrated because it happens in comedy too. They just ignore how good this is and they just keep going with this other bullshit to less and less returns. And what a fantastic match. Kyle, your thoughts.
That's what I like to call a no notes match. There are no notes on the match. Wonderful from beginning to end. I mean, I don't know if there's a single person who dislikes this match. It's an incredible match. It was even fun in the game, which is in 2K games are very miserable. It's still fun to play it. So I think, and it shows, and they do multiple storylines about it. You could have taken them both to the next level, and they both kind of just stuck in the middle. Right now, shortly after Rey Mysterio does face, he did get his mask removed from Hall and Nash,
Yeah,
which was unfortunate. He was in the mid card feuds, but he didn't win them. Even he may have won one match because I remember they were calling him Giant Killer for a while, but it didn't really stick. It didn't stick. Eddie Guerrero, he did the shoot promo. They made the LWO, and then the LWO could not be as big as the NWO, so they were like low to mid card. And then I remember after his accident, they squashed the LWO like the first Nitro of the new year or whatever it was. Basically, they could have really built around these people and we could have had maybe like a Sting Eddie Guerrero on the first Nitro of the new year with the NWO like gone, quote unquote. But that's as we know, that's not what they did. So just enjoying the match as what it was, perfect match. Everything else that they didn't do, I mean, we could talk about that forever.
I know. Well, we will if they don't through the archives. Pratik, your thoughts?
Yeah, it really is like just a fantastic match. You see the influence on the modern day wrestling that comes from this match. This is a textbook match that every wrestling class should be watching this match. Like, you see how much of an influence it had on the industry. It does it, and it's what third on this card, but it's just, and again, like I was thinking about, like I was trying to watch for the commentary. The commentators build both of them up. They keep the, like there's a story there too that people forget. It's not just a bunch of, I think today's modern wrestling fan is just like, oh, flips and flips. I mean, yes, there's technical moves and flips, but there's still great ring psychology. Every move matters. It's paced well. The way it starts to the way it ends. Like, I think people just don't think about that in wrestling. There are things that are missing in today's wrestling matches. But the ring psychology is great. Dusty Rhodes had a couple. I forgot. I tried to write a couple of his lines down, but Dusty did such a good job. I know we've talked about this before that he was leaving the. I believe he stopped commentating soon after this, but he was a great commentator, and he always, the way he talked up Ray and talked up Eddie in this, highlighting Gory Guerrero's feud with El Santo, like giving them the history. I believe that was Mike Tenay actually who talked about that in this match, but there was a great history lesson done by the commentators too in this match. Like, this match really has a little bit of everything. Great storytelling, great history work done by the commentators. Everything is firing off all cylinders in the match, and it's a great match. Um, Obviously, WCW didn't, utilize them as we talked about now, but I'm glad that they're both heralded as great. Where their legacy, whether they had to, because they had to leave WW or WCW to go to WWE, but it worked out for both. They're both Hall of Famers. They both have a legacy. I still see kids who don't even know wrestling, but they know who Eddie Guerrero is. Rey Mysterio, like so many athletes also who aren't in wrestling, like baseball players, basketball players. They talk about Rey Mysterio Jr. So it's great to see that they both have superseded just wrestling fans and they're part of casual wrestling nostalgia. So this is a great time capsule match, and we know why they're great.
Yeah, I loved it. And Kyle, I blame you for them not getting pushed. So sorry, Kyle.
They were like my favorite people to watch. I loved our one.
Go out of your way to find this match. Go out of your way to watch it. This match inspired Sasha Banks once did a thing like her favorite matches, and basically said this match basically stole Sasha Banks or Mercedes from. This is like the first match that like got her. This match has probably influenced every wrestler you see that loves the cruiserweight style. That this match has inspired them. This match, I would say, like if you want to like go all the way back, the roots of AEW, the roots of Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, start on this match. This is the match that starts you on that road, and it is a terrific match. And to this day, you know, I watch Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. I've seen Will Ospreay versus a couple other guys. Daniel Bryan, sorry, Brian Daniels. Nothing comes close to this match, and then this match is way shorter. Here's the other thing, guys. How long is this match? 10, 11 minutes?
Yeah, it's not very long.
Yeah,
I thought it'd be longer.
you don't need to go long to have a great match. Like these guys just,
No, time was 13:51. Yeah, it's not that long. Nothing.
yeah, give me a 13-minute match. This was great, and it's nonstop action for 13 minutes, dude. That's like less than like a middle set on a comedy show,
Yeah.
and that's all you need. That's all you need. All right, up next, here's a promo with Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff. So here's what I think about this. I kind of think Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hogan, the character starts hurting with Bischoff next to him because Bischoff gives off a vibe of a fucking Hollywood agent, a fucking hanger on, a fucking shitty, like a shitty Hollywood manager agent guy. It's not a, I want to watch this guy. Hogan kind of goes off on his own island with Bischoff. He doesn't really stand next to Hall and Nash as much anymore now that we're here late 97. And I'm not a fan of this promo. And in the promo, Hogan says that if Sting, I don't want Sting allowed in the building, I'm not going to wrestle. The announcers then spend the entire next match ignoring the match. And this is the problem that happens now is that the announcers basically spend 3 hours talking about Hulk Hogan. It starts around this era. They don't focus. You see a lot on the Nitros in '98. They just talk about what Hulk Hogan's going to do, and they just ignore like whatever matches in the ring. And they do that with the next match. And by the way, this whole like show long story of Hulk Hogan's not going to wrestle if the Stings are in the building, it they don't even do anything with it. He wrestles anyway. The announcers screaming and yelling and crying don't even matter. And yeah, what do you think of this promo? I kind of think Bischoff kind of ruins the character.
I didn't like it. I think like you said, they spend so much time, like every match afterwards, they bring this up so many times, and then you're just like, oh my God. And like already, especially someone who's watching with the hindsight, he's showing up. And it's not like a will he like stone cold kind of way. He's just gonna show up. So it really takes you away from everything else you're watching. Because you're just like, shut up, stop talking about this. But yeah, that I did not like it one bit. I didn't like the direction that it turned because it didn't lead to anywhere, like you said. Could have done without it all.
Yeah. Pratik, your thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't care for the promo, and I did notice like there was like just I'm like, no, can you talk about the wrestling in the ring? Like, I'm so glad in that way. I'm happy that Mysterio and Guerrero happened earlier before this. So they weren't
Yeah.
dealing with that. This brings up a thing I was thinking about because like in the Attitude Era, in those days with Raw, where like the Austin McMahon storyline took over the whole show. You look at what JR and Lawler did, they would talk about it, they would tease it in the matches, but they never took away as much from the match. At least JR, he knew how to infuse it with what was going on in the ring and not make it seem just forced. And so I think that's something where the Nitro commentators didn't do as good of a job with that sort of like make it organic. If it's something in the ring, you can do something with it. And I felt with those, going back to some of those Raws where it'd be like, oh, Austin's gonna face McMahon at the end of the night, and there's some weird thing going on. Like they would touch on it, but it wouldn't overtake the match. It wouldn't overpower what was going on with the undercard. And so that's again another difference between WWF and WCW at that
Particularly.
time.
All right, up next. And again, this match wasn't very good, but I also think it was kind of hurt by the announcers. I really do. Mongo McMichael versus Alex Wright. Alex Wright just can't carry Mongo. It's not a very good match, but I also have to say the announcers screaming and yelling about Hulk Hogan maybe not wrestling in the main event. Tony Schiavone just screaming. It's so fucking annoying. And I don't think that helps the match at all. I think it takes away as a viewer. You can't really concentrate in the match. Here's how the match ends, though. And this is big. Goldberg interferes and drops Alex Wright on Mongo. Goldberg's not over yet. And I don't think they knew what they had with Goldberg. I don't think anybody knew what they had with Goldberg. The thing, people don't give Goldberg credit. But here's the thing with Goldberg. What happens with him wasn't the plan. Not the plan. This is just the guy that's supposed to be in the mid card. And he gets over organically. Like no one could have predicted how this guy got over. It just goes from here's a guy on the show to this is the hottest fucking wrestler we've ever had. And it happens almost overnight. I remember like I started watching Nitro Weekly in March of '98, and Goldberg was like, "Oh, it's Goldberg." By April of '98, people are going ballistic for this guy. Like it happened so fucking fast. So you can criticize like, "Oh, like you're just wasting." No one knew what was going to happen with Goldberg. Um, he gets the Super Bowl ring, which I guess he wanted. I don't know. Not a good match, but however, historic for Goldberg. What do you think, Kyle?
It was interesting to see Goldberg in a storyline like the early Goldberg because that's not something they talk about, and you forget that he's only like a month in by this point, which is kind of crazy to see him talk about the Super Bowl ring and kind of have a character, I guess, be a heel. I don't know what he was, but yeah, the was not good. The match was DOA since Jeff Jarrett left anyway, and they're just trying to get through this stupid storyline, but. it was very interesting to see Goldberg in that role starting out. And nah, I was there for Goldberg Mania, I guess. He would just keep winning, and then people got really invested in it. And this is coming from someone who does not like Bill Goldberg at all, not even a little bit. It was really cool to see. There was a great rise. It's something that should still be done today, like say an Obafemi comes to Raw or SmackDown, and he just keeps beating people in quick fashion. I would say the same thing for AEW, but they don't have short fucking matches. That's what Wardlow should have been doing. But yeah, that was not a good match. Interesting to see now because how we know what happened with Goldberg.
Yeah. Pratik.
Yeah, that match, definitely seeing Goldberg come in as a heel, that definitely threw me off because I'm used to, like we talked about superhero Goldberg. There was something about, I remember I wasn't watching Nitro regularly at this time, but a little bit when a Rodman would come on or something, I try to switch over. We also didn't have cable until like late 97. So kind of around this time is when we got TNT anyway. So, but I do remember like when I watched Nitro, it would be like, Guerrero, Mysterio, and then like when Goldberg would come on the stream, there was just something about his look, his fierceness, that scowl. Like even if you didn't really know much about wrestling, you're like, who the fuck is this man? And so yeah, I think there's been a lot of criticism of Goldberg in the internet wrestling nerd room, but he deserves credit for getting over organically. And to Kyle's point, I was actually thinking about like whether Trick Williams comes up to the main roster, whether Oba comes up, like someone new coming up, they need something special. Maybe they should do another streak. There is something to that. One of these big, maybe even Gunther, like maybe that's the next thing to do for Gunther. Just have him come back and just like keep just murdering people in like 2 minute match. Like there is something to a shorter match. I don't know what, and it's not just AEW, like even WWE, some of those Netflix Raw matches are like 15, 20 minutes, like as we noted, Mysterio and Guerrero 13 minutes. Like you can have a shorter match. There is something to maximizing your minutes. So
You got to get those commercials in.
that's the other thing. These commercial matches and all, just it's there's something that they can manipulate time a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe they should talk about that on the WWE documentary Untold or whatever. Like show how they're timing, show how Michael Hayes is getting drunk and over timing matches. Maybe that's what I want.
You want to see them yell at Abyss again?
Yeah.
Match going over.
The thing about Goldberg though, is that I think like if they tried like if they had Obafemi show up on Raw and squash people, you're expecting that reaction eventually. The thing with Goldberg is they weren't. I don't know what they were expecting, but they were like, I think they were like, we're just gonna keep the match short because this guy stinks, and it just kind of happened. Like when they started '98, they weren't like, and Goldberg's gonna become the biggest star in the world.
It wasn't
They're just like, well, give Goldberg a match, and even when Goldberg beat Raven, I watched it live. When Goldberg beat Raven, I thought like there's a possibility that this guy could be the next Hulk Hogan. Like, and I got to give Raven a lot of credit. No one gives Raven enough credit because I think that's the match that makes Goldberg gold because Goldberg just fucking destroys him in the flock, and it's one of the best things Raven. It's one of my favorite Nitro matches. If you haven't seen it in a while, go back watch Goldberg versus Raven when he wins the U.S. title. But um, that night, I went from mildly interested in Goldberg into being a Goldberg fanatic. Like it just happened so fast, and you have to have a charisma, and it has to be in you. I think someone who has that charisma right now is Dominic Mysterio, but also like everyone we're talking about that could be it has just been on the show for too long. Like if Goldberg was on Nitro for 5 years and then beat Raven, it's not gonna have the same effect. It's just something was just in the air back then with Goldberg. It's just it's
and they made him special. They kept him an attraction. He wasn't wrestling every week.
and they fuck it up, and we'll get into that one day. But anyway, speaking of fucking things, actually not fucking things up, we're gonna talk about Macho Man Randy Savage's promo, which was a hilarious promo because Halloween Havoc is sponsored by Slim Jim because of Macho Man. Macho Man, by the way, is in a main event because Slim Jim needs him to be in a main event. So Macho Man cuts a deranged coke fueled promo but also keeps mentioning the sponsor and the name of the show. And Elizabeth even speaks. I loved this promo. I loved it. This is classic Macho Man. Honestly, Macho Man should have been the lead of the NWO at this point. I thought it was a terrific promo. This is one of my favorite things on the show. This might be my favorite thing on the show besides the Eddie Guerrero match. Eddie Guerrero match than this. What do you think, Kyle?
I had no problems with the promos, Macho Man being Macho Man. I did notice he kept going back to Slim Jim and kind of trying to keep doing the sponsor, which, hey, that's sponsorship 101. Always go back to it. If Slim Jim sponsored characters like comedy, I would have a Slim Jim joke in every set, but they do not. Yeah, it was Macho Man. Macho Man gets a lot of leniency and deservedly so, even when things go off the rails or are kind of silly, because he was just such a charismatic person and such a good character and wrestler. So he doesn't really get the same kind of strictness that a Hogan or a Warrior does. And I'm okay with that. We will keep it that way as long as we ignore all the Macho Liz stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was great. Kyle? I mean, Kyle, critique?
Yeah, he has unhinged Macho Man. He has great comedic timing. I wonder. It's funny because now it's more common for wrestlers who've retired to do stand up or do storytelling shows. We never really got that with Macho Man. Like if he had been around for this kind of comedy boom, like it would have been great to see Macho Man do even if he doesn't do straight stand up, like just him telling an hour of stories in front of a live crowd. I think he really had good just charisma, but also timing. Like he, even when he's unhinged, like I would love to just see him, like just go nuts for 30 minutes on a crowd or something. So it's a shame we did get a Macho Man rap album, but we didn't get a Macho Man stand up album. So
We say
Um,
that, and then we're gonna get a Macho. We would get if he was still alive, we would get Macho Man and Macho Verse doing TikToks
oh
together.
my god, we want to take Macho on TikTok with the Machoverse guy.
Macho Verse guy might not even exist if that happens because he there's no need for him to be Macho Man.
bro, can you imagine Macho Man on
It would be hilarious.
I could see if I could see Tony Hinchcliffe like fucking paying Macho Man like a 10 grand to sit on that
Oh,
panel.
to be the judge. Oh my god, him on Kill Town.
I mean, yeah, fucking player. Macho Man would have been so much funnier on Kill Tony. I would
Sorry,
buy.
Triple H.
Let me tell you something. I'd buy a ticket. I don't even like Tony Hinchcliffe or Kill Tony. I'd buy a ticket. I'd sit front row. I'd buy the VIP seating. Same thing if he was on Legion of Skanks, Macho Man. Front row. I'm here, front row. Give me the VIP seats. I'll get the 2 drink
Oh,
minimum.
they
Let's
they would give him a weekly show at the stand like immediately. Macho Man.
Oh my
go.
god, that'd be great.
Oh my god, move back to New York. Don't fucking don't tease me with a good time. All right. Speaking of not a good time though, Disco versus Jacqueline. Man, this is probably one of the worst intergender matches I've ever seen. These guys, these two, they're not guys, but these two, it's poorly thought out. I probably just would have had Jacqueline squash him. Disco got fired because he didn't want to do this match. And then they rehired him and he agreed to do this match. He didn't want to lose to her. But the match is just like it's not worked right. It's bad. It doesn't help either one. It's kind of a waste. It goes way too long. He doesn't defend himself. He's supposed to be a heel, but he's not like I'm supposed to like not like this guy because he just doesn't want to hit a woman. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, he should have just fucking body slammed her. That would make him a heel. And she could have handled it because they're both trained wrestlers. But I also get the sense like that someone in power didn't want him to hit a woman. So why even have this match? I thought it was a waste of time. Kyle?
Yeah, I mean it was good. I thought this was the one way when she won the cruiserweight title, so I was
Wait for the WWE.
confused. Oh yeah, man. Again, my timeline is everywhere. But Jacqueline, it was just kind of a match that have too much kind of just running around from disco and just get to the point. But yeah, not the best use of Jacqueline, and of course she leaves, I guess, a few months later. But I guess it was something for the crowd. The crowd seemed to like it, but I could take it or leave it.
Yeah. Critique your thoughts.
I think you hit the nail on the head that nobody looked good coming out. Like I don't know what was the point of this, and it's a shame because I do like Jacqueline. I'm not a big fan of Disco Inferno though. I like what Cody said on on Twitter that he was like a mid Carter who never got over or something.
Yeah, that's true. He wasn't over.
Let me check what's going on with these dogs. Hold on, I'm in a friend's.
All right, right. Nope, all good, all good. All right,
The dogs
let's move
love
on.
disco.
I don't want to talk about this fucking idiot, Disco Inferno. Now let's talk about other idiots. Kurt Hennig versus Nature Boy Ric Flair. You know, after the end of Fall Brawl, this probably could have been the main event of this show. The way they set it up probably could have been a huge match. Instead, this is just look. Flair is trying. Flair is trying to get over the intensity of "I've been waiting to kick your ass." Kurt Hennig comes out in the robe. It's just Kurt Hennig looks so checked out. Kurt Hennig looks like he wants to be in the back playing cards. Ric Flair's trying. He's trying. It's trying. These guys at 93 had probably the match that put Raw on the map. It's like, oh, you're going to get great matches on this show. It's not just going to be squashes. And they just don't have it here. Um, the crowd doesn't care. The announcers, you know, Tony Schiavone, I thought he was going to be all upset because of what happened. They're like not even giving a shit that these two are fighting. I was very disappointed in this. And Ric Flair's trying, and I don't know if he's just too old or if he knows that Henning's checked out and the company's checked out, but this was just not good. Finish comes when Flair Kurt Hennig wins by disqualification, and then the refs try to stop Flair. Conan and Vincent run out. Not good. What do you think, Kyle?
This match is so like forgettable that I forgot that I watched it like a couple days ago. I forgot that it was on the show. And then when you mentioned this qualification, I remember, which I laughed at. Ric Flair took the belt and just put it over his face and then kicked him. And I'm just like, that's a hilarious way to just get disqualified. Like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. It's like a video game way, like when you would hit your friend with like the chair and be like, screw this, I don't play against you anymore. Yeah, these guys have had good matches before. The '93 one, especially on Raw. And I don't know what happened here. I think, like you said, maybe he was checked out. Maybe he didn't like the NWO storyline. I know their friction between WCW and Ric Flair are starting or has already started. So it just didn't click on this show.
No, it's just Partiki there dealing with the dogs. All right, we'll get his
Yeah,
thoughts.
dealing with so I know last week there was airport noises. This week dog noises. It's
Oh,
nonstop.
but what do you think of Kurt Hennig versus Ric Flair?
I wanted to get more into this match and just this I don't know. I couldn't. It wasn't for me. Something about you want to like both of these guys. You would think they have more chemistry, but and I also noticed what was the time on it. It was
I put the blame on Kurt Hennig more than Ric Flair. I do. You know?
see, I don't know. I'm more into. I just I feel like maybe Ric Flair was drinking too much the night before or something. I couldn't. But maybe it was more Kurt Hennig too. I don't know. But I wasn't a fan of this match. It was a bit too long for me. They could have either maybe made it shorter or I don't know. Maybe kept it on TV as opposed to it just didn't feel like something that fit on this paper.
What's crazy to me is that in '93, Kurt Hennig and Bret Hart having a terrific match. This is 4 years later. This is not the same guy. Um, he came back at Bash at the Beach '97. He has not had even what I would consider a remotely good match since he's gotten back. And this used to be one of the all time greats. And I don't know if it's drugs. I don't know if he mentally didn't care. I don't know if he physically was worse off than he's letting on. This is not the guy from SummerSlam '91. You know, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, he had the really bad back injury and he came back in 93, 94, disappeared again for a little bit. I don't know if he had to start wrestling again because of that whole Lloyd's of London thing. He was insured, and I heard Vince McMahon like ratted him out or something, and that's why he left. I don't know. There's a bunch of hearsay with that, but maybe he just wanted to stay on the Lloyd's of London insurance and not wrestle again, and who could blame him? But yeah, it's definitely a shift in Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, and it's unfortunate. I know he wrestles Brett like later on next year. I don't know if he improved because
No.
he was. Oh damn! All right, never mind.
I got that pay per view on VHS from my friend the day after. So I would rewatch that pay per view over and over again. It stinks. It's shockingly not good.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. It stinks. It's like what am I watching? How is this? How are these the same guys? Okay. Um. So here is a real fun. Actually, this is a funny moment. Macho Man is with Mark Madden on the WCW live show, which by the way, it's just so man. I want to meet. Okay, if you listen to this podcast and you actually would tune in for WCW live during a pay per view, I want you to email us because I want to interview you because somebody had to be watching these or listening to these while they were watching the pay per view. And I want to know who you are. Macho Man looks completely lost. You know, I know we just said all this stuff. He looks like he's not doing the voice as much. He did not seem comfortable just having a freestyle interview right before his match. Did you notice that, Kyle?
Yeah, sorry. I did. He was just kind of his voice is more subdued. Almost like he didn't know he was on camera while they
Yeah.
were doing it. It's kind of funny. It reminds me of there was a video game, a SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, where you just had to make your wrestlers do stuff in the middle of the week, like go do a movie, go do a podcast, like stupid things like that. And this seems like if you're like playing the season mode, Macho Man at this show, it cuts the promo of the GM mode, and then he has to do like the interview podcast thing, and you see the cutscene of him talking to Mark Madden. That just kind of seems like his journey for the thing for the show. But yeah, he didn't seem comfortable. It was very new. I was online, but I did not have WCW.com or whatever that was. I didn't know how to get it. I didn't know what to do with that. I think it was still during the hours era of AOL anyway. So like I wouldn't have, my parents would not have spent 3 hours of phone bill on WCW. But
Well, this wasn't on the phone. This was on the internet. This was on
no, but
WCW.
the internet, you still they would charge your phone or charge something when you had the hours. When you ran out of hours, they was oh my God, we're old. If you didn't have enough free hours anymore, you would have to be paid to be on the internet. So we would not have paid for that. But yeah, I wonder if these are around somewhere. Maybe it's lost media that someone will upload someday.
I would love it. Well, the other thing that's lost media, I told you, Chris Benoit had a podcast. He wasn't called a podcast, but Chris Benoit and like a real life friend would give updates on his life, and he did a long, and I can't believe this is gone. Um, on his website, like a 30-minute audio interview about his first week in WWF and why he left WCW and how much he enjoyed having his first match be with Triple H and how people are wrong about Triple H and he's a great wrestler and he knows what he's doing more than a lot of people in WCW. And
So his
it
brain was already checked out then from then.
uh,
Really?
it was
Here,
very interesting because he's just blunt about everything. He just nowadays that would fucking be all over Twitter. A guy who just stormed out of AEW and then shows up in WWE and wrestles like I don't know, like fucking Cody Rhodes on SmackDown, and then just
Uh-oh,
talks all.
they would lose their mind. I mean, Blake Monroe's like, "Hey, I'm living in my dream company right now. I'm very happy. Happy what I did before. I'm happy here." And they're like, "Fuck you. We hate you so much. He gave
He's
you everything."
not different. No one besides me, like I think a few people on a message board. I think one guy posted, and I listened to it. I don't know if anyone else that I was like following on the internet back then listened to this, and it's gone. It doesn't exist. But Benoit had updates, and he did it like every few months, and it was basically a podcast. Benoit had a podcast, and it's gone. And I'm the only one, and it was great. He like sounded like a real person.
There's a lost media Reddit. Maybe somebody's just holding on to it. If you post on Reddit, if you've never posted on Reddit, don't do it. But
Pratika,
maybe someone has it.
did you ever listen to Chris Benoit's podcast?
I didn't, but I would listen to it now. I'm curious. You said what years was he doing
This,
this?
this was the I don't know if he updated it further, but he made an episode, and it was an audio update. He
Yeah.
made an audio update like a week after he got to WWF.
Wow. Oh, it was done in real time. Like he wasn't like talking about his first.
Right after he with Triple H on SmackDown the first week. Yeah, it's crazy. And he detailed he gave details about how he left and why he left. And
I mean, a pre-murder or pre-Chris going crazy, like between him and Eddie just having conversations about the road. That would be fascinating.
it was with like a friend. Like this was like a guy who like Benoit was friends with in real
Yeah,
life,
yeah,
and
yeah. Probably helped him with the tech side of it. Yeah.
helped them hide the bodies. Okay, so
Oh, the dogs are in the yard. Oh,
next up, more waste of time. JJ Dillon and Eric Bischoff. I don't know if they needed to do this to like get things ready in the back. Maybe all these segments are for them to like figure out some production stuff later on. Just solves up. But JJ Dillon comes with a contract and tells Eric Bischoff that Hogan has to wrestle. Eric Bischoff looks at this contract like, huh? And meanwhile, Eric Bischoff's like in charge. It's just waste of fuck. This was a waste of all three guys. Kyle, your thoughts on this stupid fucking segment?
You've already said it, waste of time. We shouldn't spend any more time on it.
Yeah, Pratik, real quick.
yeah. I didn't care for it. Maybe it's a way. Maybe JJ Dillon gets paid if he's on camera or something. So maybe it was just like a way for him to get an extra paycheck.
Like, I'd like to pay JJ Dillon. What a bozo. All right. Up next, this was interesting because I gotta tell you, when the match was happening, next up is Scott Hall versus Lex Luthor. Larry Zbyszko is special guest ref. When the match was happening, I was not into it. The work was not good. And I'm watching Scott Hall and I'm like, man, what happened to this guy? Like, what? I know what happened to this guy. But seriously, what this guy used to have killer single matches in 94 and 95. And here it's just like, what? He's like broken down. He's like broken down. It's terrible. Um, but the finish with Zbyszko asking to see the replay and then restarting the match and then the promo he cuts and like get in the ring, I'm going to disqualify you, and then Luger hitting him with the torture rack, and then Zbyszko getting attacked. I thought all that was really well done. I love the fact that Zbyszko was like, I want to see the replay. Oh, wait a minute. Like no referee before or since has ever asked to see the fucking replay, and like, oh yeah, that was bullshit here. We're gonna restart the match. Um, but the problem with all this is I love the finish. It does nothing for Lex Luger, who's still your active wrestler, one of your top guys. It does everything for Zbyszko. Zbyszko is like now like your number three face, but he's a fucking announcer, and they're putting all this effort in a Scott Hall Larry Zbyszko feud, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this is going really well, but what is the long term future here? What if you invested all this time into a Scott Hall Eddie Guerrero feud? What could you have built on that? But I will say Zbyszko did a great job at the end. Kyle, your thoughts?
I think you're gonna need a TEW Total Extreme Wrestling the Simulator. I don't know if you ever played that game on the PC where you could mod it and do your own WCW world because unfortunately they didn't do what you wanted to do with Scott Hall and Eddie Guerrero. They were really into this Larry Zbyszko feud. And like you said, just the non-wrestling parts of it, fine. The wrestling parts of it, oh, it was
Oh my god!
rough. Very,
It's
very
like
rough.
Luger and Hall are just going through the motions so they get to the finish.
Maybe just they didn't want to. I don't know. They were in Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe everyone was just hungover and broke or something. I
Well,
don't know. A lot of casino nights.
can't be hungover and broke when WWE.
Speaking of, even from when I was a kid, Mean Gene always mentions the craps table, and I'm like, how often is this guy gambling? Because this guy
Oh,
is always mentioning the damn craps table.
Gorilla Monsoon, and yeah, they would always gamble. Those old guys, like Gorilla Monsoon, would walk around with a stack of bills, and if he saw action, he'd go do it. Like the minute when Gorilla was at WrestleMania 4 and 5, the minute the show was over, he went back to the tables.
My God. Well,
Yeah,
hopefully they
that
won a lot.
hopefully. Pratik, your thoughts on this match?
yeah. It's just a shame because I like both Luger and Hall. And like a year ago, they were like it just it shows their decline. And I mean, look, the Zbyszko part was fine. Clearly, it just made like Luger like the third wheel in the match, which is a shame because literally a few months ago he was in the main event. He had won the title in Detroit. So I think the downer for me is just knowing that this is sort of decline for Luger when he was so over and people were behind that title win. And all this match basically negates that whole build of like Fall Brawl and the Nitro title win. And now he's being relegated. Yes, it's Scott Hall. It could be treated like a main event match, but this whole Zbyszko angle is kind of making him feel like a third wheel. And just yeah, that was more what took me out of the match was just knowing that this is the decline of Luger. But yeah, the story from a storyline angle, I get what they were trying to do, but yeah, it just wasn't for
Yeah, it's I mean, if you're gonna put this much effort into getting Zabisco over, I mean, Zabisco should have got a title shot later on in '98. Like, eventually, just give up, and he goes back to being an announcer. And it's like, well, what's the point of putting all this TV time? This fucking guy, you know?
He did
Like you,
make WCW and NWO Revenge. He was in it.
yeah, yeah, you're right. But like, they're getting this fucking guy over, and he can still kind of move. They're like, all right, well, if you're, and it's working. I don't like Larry Zabisco, but it's working. So fucking keep going. What do you? You just gave
me.
up.
They could do a tag or something with somebody. They could have done like, yeah, like young
Keep
Eddie.
like
Like the new enforcers or something.
Yeah.
yeah, like put him in this. I don't know. It's like you waste Bret Hart, the fucking guy. Keep going. Don't. All right. So so I mean I don't think it's a good idea to push Larry Zbyszko, but it's working. It's fucking work. What do you want from me? Um, Eddie Guerrero and Larry Zbyszko main event of Starrcade '99. Let's fucking go. Okay. All right. So Macho Man Randy Savage versus DDP. It's a Las Vegas sudden death match. It's basically like a last man standing match. Here's one thing. Elizabeth starts doing moves. She chokes the ref. She attacks DDP. I don't know what's going on here, but Elizabeth starts doing moves. Kimberly comes out, attacks Elizabeth. I've never seen Elizabeth do this shit. That was kind of crazy to me. That was almost like a Mandela effect. Like, what's happening here? Like, Liz is not supposed. I don't know if I liked it, but she did it. This match was good, and then it wasn't good, and then it was good. It's just, it's okay. It's all right. This was a good feud, but the matches aren't as good as DDP kind of thinks they are. Um, and to be honest with you, like every time DDP is a little elevated, Savage knocks him back down. Uh, Macho Man wins because why not? It was okay. I don't know. I can't hate it. It's definitely of these four final matches, it's the best one, but that's faint praise. Kyle, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was definitely out of the last matches. It was the better one of the two. Seeing Liz be a heel was definitely kind of surprising. Her and Kimberly getting into it. I'm just glad nobody got hurt. Neither one with really any real wrestling experience. But it's I guess another mismanagement. Every time we've been watching these, DDP just does not get these wins. And I get he's supposed to be like an underdog, but an underdog has to get a win eventually. And he lost in such a stupid way. Like another fake sting hits him in the bat and the ribs, and like maybe I'm just too much modern wrestling. I expect him to get up, but it's just and then he gets beat up on the stretcher, and like it's just like if that was today, this guy would be back on like Evolve because he would have killed the career. But so luckily that's a testament to DDP because he was still around for quite a while after that.
Yeah. Yeah. To critique your thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't care for this continual beatdown of DDP. I mean, it shows the organic. Again, we were talking about how Goldberg got over. Like DDP still got over. Even like I feel like today this would kill a guy. This would be considered burying. There'd be like 10 different message boards saying like, oh, you buried DDP. But back in the day, like the crowd, it didn't matter. The crowd unconditionally loved DDP, and so maybe it was part of that sort of like the underdog. Oh, we need to see a win from him. They loved him so much that they went on the ride of these losses and then the win finally mattered. Yeah, I don't know. Like I think it was a little too long. They could have shaved off a few minutes. I don't know. Macho Man looked gassed at one point. Like we could have. It's a shame because this is better than the main event. This could have been the main event. You had Macho Man kind of being sort of the face of this pay per view with all the Slim Jim stuff. So maybe this could have been the main event. I don't know. Maybe Macho Man went too hard on the tables or drinking. He looked a little gassed in towards the end of this match. So I wanted to like it a little bit more. It was still serviceable. Not a complete total dud. Definitely better than the last few things. I don't know. I really want to like this just a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. No. All right. Up next is me, Kyle. You know me. I'm a Hulkamaniac. All right. I'm NWO for life. All right. But up next, Kyle, you there, brother?
Yeah, I was letting you talk.
Okay. You
Yes,
know me. I love Hulk Hogan. All right. I'm sorry.
you do.
Next is The one is probably the worst. I think right now, I've never seen this match in full. I think this is the worst Hulk Hogan match of all time. I think this is one of the worst main events of all time. And I think that as good as that first half of the show is, when this show ends, you know, WCW, you need to make radical changes or you're fucked. Because in a few weeks, you know who's going to make a radical change is Vince McMahon. And you need to do the same or you're fucked. And I'm not saying they should have got rid of Hulk Hogan, but Hulk Hogan and Bischoff should have read the writing on the wall. A year ago, this match, Hogan Piper, was the hottest thing they had. They outdrew WrestleMania with this at Starrcade 96. They got more pay-per-view buys with Starrcade 96 and also Starrcade 97. They turned Starrcade into the WrestleMania of that year. And now nobody cares. Um they do a lot of climbing on the cage. They walk out of the cage. This is my problem with the match. I think there's two problems. I think these guys saw Shawn Michaels Undertaker and decided they were going to try to emulate that because there's no reason for Hogan and Piper to be on top of. First of all, you don't win by climbing over the top of the cage. So why do they keep going there? I think they tried to emulate that match when you don't have to. They should have literally just stayed in the ring. Also, the cage is much bigger than the Hell in a Cell and the standard cage. So there's a lot of room to maneuver. So it gives they never do go back to this cage in WCW. So again, it makes me think that they're trying to copy Hell in a Cell. But here's the other problem. So the big spot is Macho Man supposed to jump off the top of this cage. He's got a lot more. He's got a lot. He's got a lot more distance to travel because the cage is not connected to the ring, connected to the outside. So he's got to jump basically from the aisleway into the ring, and he's almost fucking 50. Okay, and his knees are not in good shape. So he does the jump. He lands it. It's never really talked about. It's forgotten, and it basically destroyed his knees. He becomes a different wrestler after this, and then has to retire. He can't continue. Like this ruins his career. This ruins his life. This bump, and it's fucking stupid because if he could have done it, the cage just needed to be connected to the ring like you've always done it in WCW. So these guys, they get out of the ring. There's fake stings. They go back in the ring. Piper wins, but immediately Hogan and Savage beat him up. They have a fake fan come in the ring. They beat up the fake fan. The crowd is just not making any noise after a while. Uh, man, the writing was on the wall. The NWO needed to shift. Hogan needed to shift. And you had the destination to shift. You had 2 months. Okay, great. We can last for 2 months. This was the pits. This was horrible. As great as the Eddie Guerrero Rey Mysterio match was, this was the opposite. This was terrible. These guys were doing things that they should not have. They should have known better not to do. I'm including Savage. One of the worst Hogan matches of all time. Kyle, your thoughts?
Hulk Hogan has not had a good Halloween Havoc run. 95 was
Oh, that was
what's that was the Big Show or Paul the Giant. 96 was with Savage with the weird ass hair. What happened?
Mhm. The Giants.
96. What happened?
I think the Giants match was better than this match.
Oh boy. I mean, he does fall off a building. How often do you get that? 97, it was horrendous. 98 is the Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't go into any more spoilers, but like it's just Halloween Havoc was just not his show, not his show at all. Yeah, I do think because when I was watching it, I was like, what are they doing on the top of the cage? Like them? Which like I guess impressive, but I guess I think you're right. They were trying to emulate or trying to get that kind of Hell in a Cell vibe where you're like, oh shit, look at these two on top of the steel cage. Now it's gonna be crazy. But I don't. It did not work out. It the Savage bump is crazy to watch, and it did ruin his career. Like just like it's so much of it is pointless. The
Mm-hmm.
stings, the multiple stings, hard work. Bobby Walker being one of the stings because they beat him up, and I know there's a lot about Hulk Hogan and racism, but once that mask came off, he saw black face. He tossed Bobby Walker out pretty hard. That's all I'm saying. He was there
Bro,
with that Sting. The fan, I had to look up if that fan was real, but like the fact that they put so much attention on the fan, there's no way that that was a fake fan. I mean, a real fan.
yeah,
It's just bad all around. There's the infamous Jim Cornette promo the next night on Raw where he just destroys them when he was doing the like I'm Jim Cornette and that's my opinion thing, and just bad. I don't have anything good to say about it.
because the thing about it is if they didn't leave the cage, if they made the cage like the old school NWA cage and they just said, you two just stay in the ring and just beat the shit out of each other, I do think this would have been an okay match, like at least a passable match. That's what they're good at. Try to emulate the 83 dog collar match. But, and I think that's where they excelled. But instead, what they do is like, what are you doing? What the fuck is this? Like,
Like
you're not you're not Undertaker Shawn, and we don't want you to be. And
I hate when blood feuds are not blood feuds. Like that's
yeah,
a blood feud, Piper Hogan, especially locked in a cage. I don't know if Hogan didn't want to bleed. I don't know if Piper didn't want to bleed. But like that should have been a match where they are just beating the shit out of each other. We're not seeing holds, we're just seeing a brawl. It's akin to Brett Shawn, which we'll talk about a month later, next week, where they are not wrestling like they normally do. They are fighting and it needed to be a fight, and it was just not it. Too many stings too.
yeah, critique your thoughts.
Yeah, this was a blood. I think you hit the nail on the head. This was blood for this didn't need to be a brawl. Maybe they could have done like a throwback, like a dog collar match or something. Like it didn't need the cage didn't need to be there. And yeah, and also like I don't know, like from the angle I was watching, it looked like green also too. It didn't look like it was like they were trying to do the old blue cage, but then it wasn't the blue cage. It honestly it kind of looked like the Punjabi prison a little bit, which was also like around the ring as
It
opposed
did.
connected. So I got Punjabi prison vibes from this thing. Yeah, that the Macho Man spot as a kid, I'd be like, yeah, but in hindsight, knowing the injuries and knowing that's the one thing about some of these spots and going back on the show and watching these old things, like that injury's coming, so it's less exciting now. So yeah, this could have been just a simple brawl or maybe like just a weapons based match or something. I think the cage was unnecessary. It was too convoluted with all the stings and everything, and it's a shame because on paper you want to like, oh, Piper Hogan, they're fighting, one more time. Like this could have maybe been kept simple and gone a little better, a little smoother. And I think they were trying to throw everything against the wall to try to add things for the fans, but it confused the fans a bit more too. I'm wondering if the fan thing was because wasn't there a fan invading the ring in Bad Blood, like in one of the matches? So maybe they were trying to copy that or include that. I don't know. So maybe they need to stay away from watching Bad Blood.
I think they want to be like fans are so upset about what he's doing is that they're willing to like risk their lives. Like they're so into Sting, they're willing to like get hurt to help Sting and Piper. I don't know, man. This was horrible. This was man, it was so bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. You know,
Sour note to end on.
That very sour. Uh, yeah, man. What do you guys say is better, Bad Blood or Halloween Havoc?
Oh man, they're both almost kind of one match shows, right?
Yeah.
Like Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. Um, shoot, I'm gonna give it to, and this is narrowly Bad Blood, just because Kane's debut was so epic, and then Kane ends up being a character for the next 20 years or so, and it is very, very narrow. That's I'm giving it to Bad Blood.
Um, Kyle Pratik, Bad Blood or Halloween Havoc?
I'm narrowly giving it to Bad Blood simply because the one match was solid too. The undercard that was kind of underwhelming ended up being overwhelming, not overwhelming, but I was more impressed with the undercard, so I'm giving it to Bad Blood because the Owen match and the Headbangers Godwin's match, like there's some stuff on there on paper you don't think is good, and then you watch them and whoa, this was amazing. The crowd is into it too. I think the crowd reaction is why I'm giving it to Bad Blood too. The crowd went on the ride for some of those undercard matches.
So you give it to Bad Blood.
Bad Blood, yes, because of
I'm gonna give it to Bad Blood too. Here's the deal. A lot of the cards are very even. Do I think that Hell in a Cell 1 is better than Guerrero, Rey Mysterio? I would say they're equally just as good.
people
But
class.
yes, the Hogan Piper match is so bad that there's not a match on Bad Blood that's as bad as that match. There's just not. So Bad Blood
Even
wins.
the Patriot.
But
Even the Patriot.
even the Patriot tag match, at least you have Vader hitting some haymakers. Brother, brother, brother. You got to give it to Vader. Yeah, man. Fucking WWF wins this month. WCW won in September. I'll do a tally later on. But yeah, WWF wins the month of October. So sorry, Eddie and Ray. Looks like you died for nothing, Eddie Guerrero. So anyway, okay, guys.
Oh
Kyle,
boy. Say that again?
why you say that about Eddie Guerrero? Come on,
I
Kyle.
didn't say stop. Hey, stop trying to get me canceled.
Okay, all right. Listen, let's go over the next. Speaking of being canceled, let's go over the next 4 weeks. Next week, this is the big one, guys. I'm excited for this. So much to talk about. Survivor Series 1997. Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. It's the screw job. In 2 weeks, World War III, another World War III battle royal. In 3 weeks, November to Remember 97, Bam Bam Bigelow versus Shane Douglas. And in 4 weeks, D-Generation X in your house, Shawn Michaels versus Ken Shamrock. Kyle, what are you looking forward to?
I keep saying World War III, but with all the Montreal talk and Montreal being this weekend, the anniversary, I'm gonna go with Survivor Series this time because there is gonna be a lot to talk about. I can see us zooming past the rest of the show and spending so much time on Montreal and being yet another Montreal podcast. So let's see what happens.
Listen, we're here, brother. We got to talk about it. Pratik, your thoughts?
I'm excited for Montreal, and then I'm also excited. Obviously, Montreal is my top pick, but World War III with the Triple Cage, that'll be interesting. I've never fully watched
Not the
that.
Triple K, the three-ring battle royal.
Three ring battle, not the Triple Cage. Sorry. Yeah, then I'll. Okay, so it's not if it's not the Triple Cage, then I'll change it to the second. First place is Survivor Series. Second place will be Degeneration X because it's Shawn Michaels and Ken Shamrock. I think that'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
And an early
Yeah.
version of the DX team.
Yes, early version of DX. Yes, yes.
That is a rough undercard.
The thing is, week 5 Starcade. It's 5 weeks
Well,
out.
I'll tell you what's the big thing about D-Generation X is the first pay-per-view match between Rock and Austin.
That's June. Oh,
Mm.
Yeah, so we got that. All right, guys. If you enjoyed the show, subscribe. Goose's Wrestling Pod. Tell a friend. Give us a follow. Ray Goose Comedy. Kyle, what do you have to plug?
November. No, if you're looking for me at the New York Comedy Festival, I'm not there. But November 22nd, the Character Select Comedy, the 9-year anniversary of the show, we will have that. It'll be an awesome show. I will give you guys lineups next week, but it's gonna be a good time finalizing everything now. I want to say one more thing about Halloween Havoc. The theme song to this 97 Halloween Havoc ended up being the theme song that Marvelous Mark Merrill would come out to. So
okay.
that was a weird little thing there. If you're a
No,
theme song, I'm a theme song nerd, so I love the entrance musics.
same
Yeah,
here.
come to Character Select.
Yes, Pratik. What are you excited about?
And then did you guys talk about speaking of theme songs? Did you talk about what Bad Blood's theme song becomes?
Steve Blackman.
Black
Oh, Steve Black.
Yeah.
his early word, which that was a good theme song actually. What do I
And
have coming up?
song becomes,
What?
the Patriots theme song becomes Kurt Angle's theme song.
It,
Right,
a lot of recycling this month.
but it's good recycling as
Oh,
long as
so
Jim
good.
Johnson gets credit. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still campaigning for a Jim Johnson Hall of Fame induction. I think.
Pratik, do you have anything to plug before we get out of here?
Yeah, Pratik Comedy at Instagram. At Pratik Comedy on Instagram. PratikComedy.com is my website. November 22nd, if you're in Indianapolis, I'm doing a headlining show there. So yeah, it's all on my Instagram and website. Just keep supporting me and keep supporting these two and keep supporting Boots Wrestling.
Yeah, support the Goose. All right, guys, that's our show. We'll see you next week. We'll see you in Montreal. It's going to be a big episode, and we'll see you then. Thank you, guys.